When they are young, cats follow you everywhere for no reason at all. Not because they need guidance, and not because they are afraid of being left behind. They follow you simply because it is the most natural way to stay close. Close enough to watch, close enough to know, close enough to be sure that you are still there. Those footsteps are always light, always quick, always appearing where you least expect them. When you move, they move. When you stop, they stop. When you sit down, they appear nearby, doing nothing at all, just observing. At the time, we often think this is simply the curiosity of a young cat. We call it instinct, we call it personality. But we rarely stop to ask ourselves, why do they always want to be so close? Cats do not follow you because the world is fascinating. They follow you because you are the center of that world. To a cat, staying close is not a random act. It is a choice repeated every single day, without explanation, without needing confirmation. When they are young, cats do not understand the concept of time. They do not know that each passing day is a piece of life quietly slipping away. They only know that right now, you are here, and that is enough for them to follow. We often smile when a cat runs after us. We find it cute, we find it familiar. We never think that those small footsteps are marking something deeply important, a bond of absolute attachment. There is something very human about noticing only what changes. When something repeats long enough, we call it normal, we call it given, and so we fail to realize that this constant following is the strongest way a cat knows how to love. While they still have the strength to do so, they do not need to say that they love you. They do not need grand gestures. They only need to be there, continuously, without leaving, without distraction, without choosing anything else. And while we believe there is still plenty of time, while we think days like these will last forever, we do not realize that this stage is the most fragile of all, not because it is about to end, but because we do not know it is passing. Those small footsteps will slow down one day. Not today, not tomorrow, but inevitably, someday. And when that day comes, the memory of a cat following you everywhere will become one of the memories that leaves you silent the longest. When cats grow old, the first thing that changes is not their love, but their bodies. The footsteps that were once light and fast begin to slow. Movements that were once effortless now take more time. Not because cats no longer want to follow us, but because their bodies no longer allow everything as they once did. A cat does not wake up one day and decide to love less. They simply wake up and realize that they need to rest a little longer. There are days when a cat still wants to stand up as you move, but has to stop halfway. There are moments when they watch you with the same familiar eyes, but their legs are no longer fast enough to follow. And within that slowness, there is no resentment, no sadness, only a quiet, natural acceptance. Cats do not say they're tired. They do not say they're weak. They do not say that today they cannot keep up anymore. They only change the way they love. When cats are young, their love is movement. When cats grow old, that love becomes presence. They no longer need to be by your side every moment. They only need to know that you are still there, not following every step, just close enough to feel you, not joining every activity, just sharing the same space, the same quiet rhythm. And if we pay attention, we will notice something very special. Older cats choose to stay near you, not because they have fewer options, but because they have let go of what no longer matters. When energy becomes precious, cats do not waste it on excess. They save it for the one thing that has always mattered most from the beginning, you. There is a very common misunderstanding among humans. When a cat no longer follows us everywhere, we think they need us less than before. But the truth is the opposite. As cats grow old, staying near you is no longer something effortless. It is a decision made each day. within the limits of their strength, guided by the quiet judgment of their bodies. And because of that, every time a cat chooses to stay close, it carries far greater meaning. They no longer have the strength to love loudly, but they love more surely. There are days when a cat does nothing at all. They lie still. They breathe slowly. Their eyes stay closed longer than usual. And if we do not understand, we may think the cat is drifting away. But if we are patient enough, we will see that they are not leaving at all. They are simply staying in a different way. A way of loving that does not require movement, does not require display, does not require anything in return. Cats do not know that they are growing old. They do not compare today with yesterday. They do not mourn what has been lost. They only know that in this moment, they can still be with you. And that is enough. This simplicity is what makes a cat's love so special. They do not save their strength for tomorrow, nor do they regret yesterday. They love with everything they still have, fully, in this very moment. And that is what finally makes humans notice the difference. Not because cats love less, but because we begin to see the value of that love more clearly. When a cat no longer runs after us everywhere, we begin to remember the days when they did. When they no longer appear in every corner, we realize how completely their presence once filled the space. A cat's slowing down forces us to slow down as well. It forces us to observe. It forces us to feel. And in that slowness, we understand that love does not disappear when it becomes quiet. Sometimes, it simply becomes easier to overlook. As cats grow old, they do not need to be loved in a different way. They do not need pity. They do not need noise. They only need you to understand this: that their choice to stay with you, even as their body slows down, is the greatest love they still have to give. As cats age, the way they love becomes very gentle, so gentle that if we are not paying attention, we may overlook it. No more obvious actions, no more constant following. Instead, there are small signs, a light touch that feels almost accidental, a gaze that lingers longer than before, a quiet presence that remains close. Cats do not demand, do not disturb, do not ask for attention. They only need to know that you are still there. And within that silence, their love becomes deeper, slower, and more sincere than ever. To a cat, you are not just an owner. You are family, their only family, their only companion throughout their short life. Cats do not have a large world or many relationships to choose from. They give all of their attachment to one person, you. When they are strong, they love by following closely. When they grow weak, they love by waiting. At every stage of life, that love never changes. It only shifts from movement to stillness, from visible presence to quiet devotion. Cats do not know which day will be the last. They do not understand separation or loss the way humans do. To them, time is not measured in years, but in moments of presence. If today they can still be with you, that is enough. Each day, cats love with whatever they have left. They do not hold back. They do not calculate. They do not worry about tomorrow. When their bodies grow weaker, they do not complain. They simply stay, silently, until they no longer can. And in that simplicity lies a love that is pure and unconditional. Humans often believe there is still plenty of time ahead. We become busy. We postpone care. We assume there will be another moment to love more deeply. A cat's presence becomes so familiar that we take it for granted. Only when they slow down do we begin to notice. Only when the footsteps no longer follow us do we realize how much love was always there. And then a quiet fear appears. The fear that we may have missed too many precious moments. The fear that we did not recognize that love soon enough. So love them while you still can. Not with grand gestures, but with true presence. Slow down when they slow down. Stay close when they only have the strength to stay close. Sometimes, what a cat needs is not play or attention, but the reassurance that you are still there, just as you always have been. Be patient when they move more slowly, when they rest longer, when they no longer respond as quickly as before. These are not signs of distance, they're signs of time passing. Speak to them through small actions. A gentle touch, sitting quietly together, a presence without words. Cats may not understand human language, but they always feel care. They know when they are loved, because to a cat, what matters is not how long life lasts, but how deeply they were loved while they were here. And when everything has passed, what remains is not the number of years, but the certainty that they were never alone, until the very end.